Hey guys, we're going to do a video on intensity today. As you know, my name's Evan, and here's Zach's son, the Karate Kid. He's gonna get you if you
train to failure
too much, or if you leave nasty YouTube comments on our YouTube channel. So watch
Keyboard
out.
warrior.
Yeah, he'll kick your ass, man. So I'll start off the video just with a definition of intensity. It's kind of like difficulty. You've got two types of intensity. You've got intensity of load, which is percentage based, percentage of your 1 RM, or your repetition max. And the only problem with using a percentage based intensity is that it can change depending on how you feel on the day. So you also have an intensity of effort, which I think is a little bit more subjective, but relevant because it takes into account how you're feeling on the day. So you use an RPE scale of 1 to 10, which measures how many reps you have left in the tank on your set. So a 10 RPE means you're training to failure. A 9 RPE means that you've got 1 rep remaining in the tank. 8 RPE is generally around 2 reps remaining in the tank. So those are your different types of intensity. And actually the reason that I got started thinking about this was because I was training at Gold's Venice over in America recently, and there was nearby to me during one of my workouts, there was this really big jacked up woman who was a personal trainer, training one of her clients, and she was putting this guy through a really intense leg workout, and he was obviously in a lot of pain during the workout, and she said, well, the more pain the better. And so I think that just kind of brings up an idea that many bodybuilders have, which is that the variable of intensity in your training programs, they have this idea that it's intensity is everything in terms of hypertrophy and strength gains, and it's really not. There's a lot of other variables that really contribute to those things. So that's what we want to talk about. We're going to go into the positives and negatives of failure, of training to failure. I'll let Zach do the positives, and then I'll go through the negatives.
Okay guys, so there's 2 main positives that we came up with, and that was, the first one is there's more motor unit recruitment, and the second one is that when you're training you create this metabolic stress, and there's a build-up of metabolites that and that's basically the pain that you feel, actually metabolite build-up, and this creates growth. Negatives.
Okay. So in the long term, you're creating a kind of like a state of chronic fatigue, and so you're not going to recover as well from your workouts. You can't train those body parts as frequently. And the other thing is that failure creates less workload as well. So if you're doing sets and you're training to failure, typically on the following sets you're not going to be able to do as many reps. So that's reducing your volume, it's reducing your workload, and we know that volume is important for hypertrophy.
Yep.
So let's just go through. Zach will just take you through a couple of examples of how illustrating that.
So this is pretty much periodized versus training to failure. Okay, so a typical, training to failure, someone will do a set of 8 to failure. The next set, they can only do 5 or 6 or whatever. It's going to be lower than the first set, and it's going to keep going down. Opposed to periodized training, we can do a set of 8. We can do another set of 8. We can do another set of 8. We can keep doing sets of 8s. We're dropping off the weight slightly, but this means we're getting more workload, getting higher volume in our workouts, and we're not fatiguing the muscles much. So it means we can frequently hit it more to the same degree of intensity that we did before.
Let me just point out that Zach's specifically talking about auto-regulation when he's saying periodized. So, for example, if you did 8 reps and you have 1 rep left in the tank, then you're not really taxing yourself so much. And then if you reduce the weight slightly as well, you're still going to be able to get the 8 reps out on the second set, on the third set, and so on up to a certain point, and then the reps will start dropping down due to fatigue. Yeah, so when would you train to failure? Is when you're going through a period of overreaching. So you're putting extra stress in your training.
Emphasis on a particular body part.
Okay, yeah. Even if it might not be on your whole training, but certain parts of your training, and then you may taper that off and try to actualize the hypertrophy and strength gains by recovering a little bit. Also, you might go to failure sometimes on the last set. So when it's not going to affect anything else. And on the last, the last few exercises of your workout as well. Is there anything else I missed on when would you train to failure?
Oh yeah. Also on we periodize, so we have a lighter day,
Training
moderate day. Yeah. So if we have a lighter day, we're going to train to failure on an RPE 10 on every set, just because it's not as taxing on our CNS and we can recover fairly fast. We're not really sore the next day after doing these type of workouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to read out a quote from Mel Sipp, who has written a book called Super Training, which I highly recommend. And pretty much that book covers periodization.
Yeah. Alright, so here's the quote. To me, the sign of a really excellent routine is one which places great demands on the athlete, yet produces progressive long-term improvement without soreness, injury, or the athlete ever feeling thoroughly depleted. Any fool can create a program that is so demanding that it will virtually kill the toughest, marine, or hardest of elite athletes. But not any fool can create a tough program that produces progress without unnecessary pain.
Exactly. So periodization is kind of what we want to get at, and it's looking at numerous training variables such as volume, frequency, intensity, and other things, smaller things in your workout, whether or not using intensity techniques, how long are your rest periods, and how that changes over time. So you wanted to point out some things about that, didn't you? About volume and frequency and stuff.
Yeah. So if you're training to failure, there is going to be, obviously we've said, less volume because it's so taxing, you're so fatigued, and you're going to be hitting the body part less frequently because you're having difficulty recovering.
A little bit earlier that your volume's going to go down because your reps are going to go down on your preceding sets if you're training to failure. So since we know that volume and frequency are some of the most important variables in training programs, why would you neglect them just so that you can train to failure? If you can train at 90% and that's still quite a high intensity, why not make the most of all of those variables? I think that's what we really want to encourage is for you guys to now go out and research periodization, because we can't cover every single type of periodization in this video and how to design a training program for you. So you've got to kind of now go from your experience and also reading books and reading online, watching videos about periodization and looking at all those training variables and creating a training program that suits yourself.
Yep.
I think that's really going to help you guys get the most out of your strength and hypertrophy gains if that's what you're looking to do. So
I think that
wraps it up.
Wraps it all up.
Alright guys.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Make sure you subscribe, like the video. If you want to comment, leave us some comments and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Yeah, if you guys want us to cover a particular topic, leave a comment and we'll get onto it. Thanks. See ya.